Welcome, guys, to a new episode of Rich and Rich FC. I'm your host, Sir Rich, with my guy, Rich. We're back again for a new episode. Rich, how's it going, man? How's your week been?
Yeah, I see, but we move.
How's Madrid? How's being a Madrid fan right now, man?
It's all good, man. We're playing for big things. We
That
always
what?
we're,
Hmm.
we're always in the hunt for the big trophies. That's what we focus on.
Which
You know,
ones?
we- I know the league, of course. You always have to focus on the league, and you have to focus on Champions League. Other than that, the rest of them forget.
What if Champions League you get Barca in the semifinals? Can you win?
Can we win? We beat them. We beat them in the league already, man.
Yeah, what
That's
about when it matters? You didn't
the
beat them this Sunday or
big game.
last Sunday.
Every game in the league matters. It was close. It was competitive. So, and we didn't have our best player, to be honest. So, it's nothing to take away from them. It was a competitive game. Even at the end, they could have tied the game, went to PK someone, but it is what it is. We move on. You can't win all the trophies. You know,
Like you
I,
just say you want to get all the trophies.
all the big trophies. The little ones, if you get in,
That's a
okay.
big trophy for y'all, man.
The Super Cup,
Yeah. It's
we
a
have
big
so
thing for y'all.
we have so many, so it's not really that important. We already have enough. We have enough if we don't win. If we don't win for the next 10 years, we have enough.
Still, that's not the point. You need to win.
Yes.
And
Winning is the
just
point.
lost to who? Albacete?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, I
Come
think
on, man.
I think it's actually like a blessing in disguise because the team needs to focus solely on the league because we're only behind Barca, 4 points behind. So that would allow us to focus our resources on that and Champions League. So I think if you lose if you lose Copa del Rey, FA Cup, Community Shield, Super Cup, that stuff is all right. You just need to focus on the big thing is the league. So that's what they should just focus on.
Even the league you form is not that great.
Doesn't matter. We're in the hunt. That's what matters. If you're in the hunt and you're only in January, so many games, man. You don't want to be peaking too high at the wrong time. So we're not in good form now, but we have enough time where we can work our way, and then by March, hopefully we're in top form. And that will just carry us through the last couple games. So we still get to play Barca in the league, obviously. So everything's to be played for.
Okay, so that's Madrid have a chance
At what?
to win the league.
We're in second place, so 4 points behind. It's not like 6 points or 9 points. So we're second place, 4 points behind. We have a game in hand against Barca, so if we beat them again, then we would sweep them for this season in the league. So that gives us a good chance. And then if they slip up, and there's a lot to be played for. We're only halfway through the season, so anything can happen.
Hmm. All right, all right, all right. Now let's talk about some AFCON before we dive into Premier League.
Where
In the AFCON, now it's really close, very tight. A lot of teams are falling off. And the latest victims to fall off are Nigeria and Egypt.
see,
Egypt lost to Senegal
yeah,
1-0. The goal scored by Mane, beating his former teammate Salah. How did you see that game?
yeah. So Senegal's way better team than Egypt. You know, so it actually was you know, what I predicted Senegal to win. Mane, I didn't predict him to score because Senegal has a very talented squad. Every one of them is playing for like a top team in Europe, other than Mane at the moment. But he's the legend of the team. And then with Egypt, they left a lot to be, just a very poor tactic. More like parking a bus, trying to hit them on counter attack. So Egypt kind of already knew they weren't going to be able to play Senegal man to man. So they kind of just parked the bus and tried their best. And then Salah didn't have a good game. Mamouche didn't have a good game. And it's kind of sad for Salah because for all he's achieved, the Egyptian people will just remember him for not winning when Egypt has always been able to produce not even like let's say quality top quality players like Salah who have achieved so much in Europe, but then they have their own local players that were able to win it for the Egyptians. But so I think that will hurt Salah's legacy a little bit.
Okay. And then the other game was Nigeria versus Morocco.
Yes.
That went to the distance. Nigeria took them all the way to penalties, and then they fumbled the back there.
Yeah.
Now, the Nigerians are claiming the referee, who was a Ghanaian, was a bit biased. Wasn't giving them calls and all that. So they kind of blame the referee for their loss instead of blaming their players for not taking the opportunities. And PKs, it's an individual thing. So
Yeah.
how did you see that game, and what do you think their concerns are valid?
So I mean, we've all witnessed games where referees haven't been at their best. So what I would say is the referee for the Senegal and Egyptian game, he did very well. He allowed the game to flow and he didn't call a lot of fouls. He let them kind of figure it out that hey, you gotta fight through it even if it's not a foul. So and yeah, but his calls were so egregious to say he affected the game where let's say he allowed Morocco to to win the game easily.
Yeah.
So I would say, okay, even if you feel like he made bad calls that affected the players' morale or whatever, but as a player, you should be aware that you're playing in Morocco, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
You're a professional player, so you played away games where the fans are against you. The pressure is not only on the players, it's also on the referee, regardless of what you think. And I would have liked him to allow the game to flow, but he kind of caught a lot of fouls that maybe he could have let go. And then even one of the fouls that they were complaining about, the linesman called it. And the referee, I gave it to them because the linesman called the ball was out and it wasn't out. But they're saying, oh, the Ghana referee in the middle. And again, the other referee was South African. But the issue with Nigeria is apparently they don't like Ghanaian referees or South African referees.
You
So
play drama, man.
next time they'll have to get them. What kind of referee do they want? Like
Maybe a Russian one.
okay, well, obviously you can't get Russia for AFCON. But yeah, it wasn't anything so egregious where you can say, okay, the referee caused this team to win or caused this team to fail.
Mhm.
And what I would say is, there weren't any clear-cut chances throughout the game. There was one handball, but obviously the rules on inner box with I want to shout out to Passy. He had a very, very great game. That was one of the uh, best performance I've seen and best performance from a defender in that tournament so far that I witnessed. But let's say I don't think you can blame the referee for losing. It's just, when you lose, you kind of hurt. So you're trying to find all the, reasons why you didn't do so well.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, Morocco won on penalties. On penalties, the referee can't help you on penalties. Oh, yeah, there's nobody who's gonna hurt you other than you and the goalkeeper. So, I think they need to get over that issue of the referee, and maybe next time out AFCON they shouldn't have a Ghanaian referee refereeing a Nigerian match. To be
I
honest, because
mean,
even a Ghanaian wouldn't want a Nigerian person refereeing their game either. So.
but that has nothing to do with the whoever CAF chooses, because at the end of the day, they just do their job. They just chose the Ghanaian referee to
Yeah, yes,
win.
yes, but the optics of it doesn't look good, especially because of the relationship between the countries. So I think like if we had a Algerian referee refereeing for Morocco, they wouldn't like it either.
Yeah,
Um,
but at the end of the day, The
So
ref,
it's about
no.
yes, I understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
but it's about optics and context. So in that regards, I think we can uh, save the referee from, because it's kind of like a lose-lose situation. Because if they win, I don't think they'll care too much about the referee, right? But when you lose, you're kind of looking at everything. Like you want to blame the player, you want to blame the referee, you find the fans, and a lot goes throughout the game. So I would say they could have chosen another referee with a different nationality to kind of and make the optics. And there's so many referees from so many different countries, so that's what I would say about that. But other than that, the penalty kick that some of the players took was really awful. Uh,
And that's
so
where it all lies because
at the end of the day,
you had 90 minutes plus 30 to score a goal, right?
mhm,
You didn't. Let's say even the referee was so bad, right? At the end of the day, you still have to take your chances, and you did it.
yeah, and it,
And you can blame the referee for allowing the game to go to the distance.
yep, and it wasn't like Nigeria created any clear-cut chances either, where you can be like, oh, sometimes you watch a game and there's like a PK and the referee doesn't blow it,
Hmm.
and then you're like, that's
I
or
mean, it
gives
happens.
a red card, and they were complaining about they got like two yellow cards and Morocco didn't get any cards. I'm like, dude, two yellow cards to zero cards, like it's not a big difference. And like the cards that they got were just obviously blatant ones where it's like holding someone on a counter attack type of thing. And their player didn't even like, cry about it. So let's say if you play 90 minutes and the referee didn't what he wasn't actually giving out a lot of cards. So I would say he was fair in that regards. There was one with DS where he could have gave the card, but he didn't. But it's like two cards to zero. It's not like he gave like five yellow cards and he didn't give any yellow cards. And so it's kind of like at this point it's just crying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're just so losers, I
And
guess.
then they took Oshimen off with like 5 minutes uh, to
Injury
go to
concerns,
penalties.
maybe.
And then, huh?
Injury concerns, maybe.
Nah, it's like 4 minutes, 5 minutes to go. If you're injured, you gotta stay. I've seen like the game with Gareth Bell was playing for Real Madrid Champions League. I think he was injured, and he was like, "Yeah, I was injured, but I stayed on, and because I knew I would be good enough to take the PK." I think sometimes it looks bad too. Like when you look at the optics, you took away your best striker, who's your captain. Your penalty kicker with like 4 minutes to go. Why would you play him 30 minutes or like 25 minutes into the overtime and then take him out when it's time to take PKs? It's like he's scared, he's injured. If he's injured, he was still able to walk, and you don't need to run like boom, boom, boom to just kick a PK either. And then the people he brought on, Chukwueze, he brought him for PKs, and the penalty was bad. He kicked the ball like he didn't even like.
He's a fancy guy, thinks he's a top star, But ultimately, I feel like Nigerians should blame Chukwueze and the other guy.
You can't blame
About.
when it comes to PK. You can't really blame them. To
No,
be honest,
the reason
what
I'm
I
saying that if you look at the PKs that were taken over the weekend between Sunderland and some other team, those are what we call good and great PKs, right?
yeah,
Like if you want to win, that's how you go about it. You
yeah,
don't do no fancy stuff. You smash it and the goalie grabs it. Great. It's a great save.
yeah,
But if you want to do that fancy stuff when you have everything to lose, at that point, it's on you. I'm sorry. But
yeah. It's kind of hard though. But what I would say is like when it comes to PKs, anybody can miss anybody. You can't miss. The pressure is enormous. You, to be honest. So, um,
but
just
that's
how
why they make the big bucks. The pressure is huge. They have entrusted you to make a good decision when you're about to take those PKs, that's why you are there, and then you go do that. That's on you.
Yeah, but we can also blame the manager too because he brought him on.
I mean,
It's,
because he knows he's a good player. I mean, we're not gonna sit here and say he's not a good player.
the thing is, it's not the same. Like when you're taking PKs in like practice, it's not the same as the game. So
True,
that's
but this is not the first time taking a PK. He's not a rookie, so he should know what a good PK looks like, and that was not a good PK.
yeah, but I wouldn't blame. I wouldn't say blame the player, but it is what it is. When you lose on PKs, it's just you're unfortunate. Obviously, both teams, it was a tight game, and both teams did really well up to that game where we were kind of expecting an offensive game, but it turned out to be a really good defensive game. And then, the goalkeeper, Bruno, too, is known to be very good at PKs, too, saving PKs. So it is what it is. And then it's just Morocco's time. It's their country. They
I
went to
mean,
the
yeah.
semi-final in the World Cup, like the last World Cup. Their youth teams are doing very well. They have very talented players, Real Madrid players, Real
So,
Betis, PSG. But what I was at, I loved seeing like all those talented players in AFCON that actually make a good impact in Europe as well. We had teams from France, players, not teams, players from France, Turkey, uh, Spain, and England, and they're playing for some of the top teams. So I do like the quality that we've seen from these players that are representing their countries. And then I was thinking to myself, it would be wild if those European-based players that chose to represent the European teams were actually playing for their African-rooted
if
teams. You would
if
see like
those players were playing for African teams, it will be very one-sided either way. There'll not be a lot of teams that will have good players either way. Because if you take France, most of them are Senegal, Congo, around that region, Cameroon. There's not a lot from Benin, Togo, Burkina, and those other countries. You know, they're all from the
I'll,
not the top
I'll,
teams.
no, I'll disagree with you on that one. What I would say is like the teams that are dominant now would actually be still the dominant
Exactly.
team. Um, but I mean, you love to see you're playing with Hakimi for um Morocco, and then you can have Olisi, what's that kid's name? Musiala. Uh, I mean, Nigeria would be actually the best team, to be
Right.
honest.
They're still one of the best teams in Africa without them.
Yeah, yes, yes,
Look at
but
Eze, like for instance, look at Nigeria. They'll have Tammy Abraham, Eze,
no, 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 tell me
Yala,
everything. They wouldn't.
all, but
They
that's
would,
that's options they can choose from.
no, I wouldn't call them Abraham for Nigeria. Cool.
No, but I'm just saying that's an option.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah,
Ghana will
but
have
currently,
Odoy, Nketiah,
yeah.
Depay, and Gakpo, all these players.
No, Gampo is Ghanaian actually.
Yeah. So all these players, they'll still be the same top teams with more quality. So
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the way how it is now, it's great, but
Yeah, even like Shirky would be in Algeria and so on.
right,
So
look at that.
it's
So
great,
it's a whole. I guess they
great.
kind of did us a favor, but now let's look at EFL Cup. Right, Newcastle took on Man City. Man City just shut it down quick, 2-0. Nothing to see here. The new sign-in Semenyo scored, and Turkey topped it off from the bench, I believe.
Yeah, for the bench.
Yeah, from the bench. Yeah. So, how did you see the game? Do you think Man City can just win this cup early on and get their season started now?
I mean, they should be the Newcastle. I don't know about winning the cup. Obviously, there's going to be a final, and it's going to be there's some of the better teams in the league. And with finals, anybody can really win. To be honest, so it's just there's not much separating the big boys, to be honest. I think wow, Man City's picking up form. They're getting the players that they need, and they're a tough team to play.
Yeah.
I
And
mean, right now it looks like everything's going to be between Arsenal and Man City. So
yeah. And now Gehi's also been added into the mix, right?
yeah,
So
yes,
that's gonna be a lot of weapons that City has to at their disposal.
yeah.
And
But he's
then,
been added, but they've also lost a couple of defenders as well. So
I
even
mean,
though it's good experience that
they did, but I think
someone they
they are kind of doing what they need to do in the market.
yeah,
And then the other semi-final game was Chelsea taking on Arsenal.
yeah.
This game was very one-sided for the most part, but Chelsea made a game out of it later on. Gyökeres scored finally, and Garnacho came on and scored 2 goals, but still wasn't enough. From this game, we could clearly see that Arsenal they have the way they play does not suit Gyökeres at all. And the one time they played to his strength, they scored, right? Even though it was a blunder from Sanchez, but still, he was there to make sure the goal happens.
Yeah.
Is that something that Arsenal need to do more to get more out of him? Or that's not
It's
something that they are not
like
considering at all?
no, no, like I said, it's a chemistry thing. It's chemistry. Sometimes you gel with a player, sometimes you don't gel with a player. Sometimes it's quickly, sometimes it takes time. Sometimes you have to work these things out on the training field. But with Arsenal, it's like a good problem, let's say, to have at the moment because you don't really have to address it because you keep winning and whatever you keep winning. So if you're winning, it's not something you really have to address at the moment. Obviously, the playing style of the wingers, what I've noticed, it doesn't really suit Gyökeres because they're not looking to cross, they're not looking for him when he's making their runs. Um, and let's say a lot of time they're looking to cut back on their favorite foot. And I think in modern day, they've kind of like even like with Haaland, when he first got to like City, it took them some time to, even though he was scoring all those goals, it took some time for them to adjust to his style of play and for him to adjust to City's style of play because he wasn't good with his back to the goal. He was more like run, finish, run, finish. And then he kind of like improved his game a little bit, even though he was like so good at finishing that he didn't really need all of that. But it's chemistry, and the wingers need to be able to like support and feed the striker, but they're not really looking. When I'm watching, they're looking more to create for themselves. And it's like, you can only if you're making runs as a striker, you're gonna get at a certain point, you're gonna be like, what the heck? Well, what are these people guys doing? They're not looking for
Yeah.
me. So and then in modern football too, the wingers actually are becoming like the top scorers. Other than Mbappe, Mbappe's more of a winger. Haaland is a natural striker, but other than him, how many strikers are really like, doing the thing?
Lewandowski, Ferran Torres, uh,
Torres is not a natural striker.
Igor Thiago.
Yeah, you go Thiago, but he's just had his first season that he's doing well. He kind of came out of nowhere. Nobody was expecting him to do that well. But Lewandowski is not even like the main starter for Barcelona, other than like Harry Kane.
Harry
Uh,
Kane, yes.
and then Haaland.
Burnley, yes.
Yeah, there's not like top strikers to be honest.
I
That
mean,
are,
that
most teams
it
it looks
seems
like
like
they're using.
it seems like Haaland has redefined the level of top strikers, but I mean, there are a lot of strikers out there, but it seems like the wingers are now trying to chip in more. And we get to see a lot of high scoring games where the striker will have his goals, but the wingers are also chipping in. And these big teams are spending more money, so they kind of seems like all the top players, all the good players are in one team or in some of the good teams. So they're kind of depleting the lower level teams. Example, United, they just rated uh Brentford, they took out Mbuemo, they also took out the best player of Wolves. So they kind of ripping apart the small teams that have like some good players or stars. So that the money factor also plays a role as to why. All seems like all the good players are on one side of the spectrum. Like even Eze, he was a very good player at Crystal Palace. He can barely make the starting 11 now. you know. So was there really a point in him going to Arsenal? If you think about playing time, not really, but they can
Well,
use
it's
him.
it's still his first season. Sometimes it's hard to break into a team your first season. So, I
Yeah,
mean,
but who is he gonna bench though?
Odegaard.
I don't think a lot of people will agree with that. Because
Odegaard is this.
he's not benching Rice. He's
No,
not benching
they don't
Zubimendi.
play the same positions.
No, that's
So
what I'm saying. So who
it's
is making
position
room
that he
for him?
plays in. It's like Odegaard's position. So, I mean, he has to be better than Odegaard in practice. Then that's all counts to. So,
But even that, Odegaard is the captain sometimes.
man,
So
you're
even
the
that,
captain, and I'm better than you. You gotta say it, dog. That's all it is.
Odegaard is having a bad season this year. But over the past seasons, he's been great.
Okay, but if I'm better than you, you're gonna sit. I don't care if you're the captain.
So he's not better than he's not better. He's just he
There's not that
at the
much difference.
moment.
Yeah, there's not that much difference. It's just the coach's preference, to be honest.
Exactly. But let's move on. Let's move on from that because that'll take a long time to finish. But now let's dive into the weekend games. We're gonna start off. We're starting off with Man City taking on United at Old Trafford. Who you got?
Man City.
Why?
I mean, look at their current form is so good. I mean, United will get back on one more. That's the only good thing. And Shesko seems to be he's looking better the past couple games that I've seen him play. He's looking I can see why they paid all that money for him. Um, and then I mean, and also they're getting Bruno up there to kind of help him more. But it'll be interesting how United lines up now that they changed formation because now they're gonna have to either pick Mbeumo or Diallo, and I think Diallo will go to the bench in that regards, which helps them because now you have a quality player coming off the bench. Um, so it'll be interesting to see. But I have City, man. If you Semenyo, Haaland, come on, Doku.
Turkey.
I believe in them.
Uh,
I don't know about Jerky's position now. First, I thought Doku's position was compromised, but then I saw the formation that he brought out, and then Jerky likes to do his little tricks and stuff, and Pep, he said no bueno, baby, no bueno. Yeah,
I think Pep actually likes that because it kind of gives them something different.
okay,
Turkey gives them something different,
okay.
you
We're
know,
gonna see. We're
because
gonna see, bro.
because of the little tricks. That's why
We're,
Pep.
we're gonna see.
All right, all right. But
I
the
think
next
I
one,
think Jerky do some tricks that I'm like, that's not the time, and then you can see Pep looking like this guy.
but that's Pep all the time. Either way. The next one, Spurs, West Ham. Just give me quick score lines.
I don't really know. It's very unpredictable game.
uh, I'll do 1-0 Spurs.
Yeah, it's very unpredictable. Spurs are unpredictable.
Sunderland Palace, that's game.
One
Liverpool
one,
Burnley. Liverpool should win. Easy.
2-1, yeah.
Fulham Leeds, open game, I'm guessing.
Lots of goals.
Yeah, yeah. Chelsea Brentford. That's a good one.
Be careful, man. Be careful. Brentford is a really good form and flying under the radar.
Yeah. So
You're not careful,
I'm still gonna go Chelsea win, but just
maybe
very narrow
2-2.
win. Two,
2-2.
I see a 2-1 in there. And then Arsenal Forest.
Arsenal.
Well, Arsenal gonna get it. I mean, it's easy, but it's tricky. Wolves, Newcastle easy. Villa, Everton. That's
Yeah, Everton should win.
okay.
No, sorry. Villa should win.
You sure? I'm
Yeah,
thinking
yeah, yeah.
1-1, 1-1.
Villa should win.
And then Brighton, Bournemouth.
I don't know how Bournemouth they're gonna, they just lost their best player. So I don't know. They lost Clyburn to injury. So they have a lot of problems to be honest. They sold all their players. If they're not careful, they're heading back to championship level. If they're not careful.
They lost to Newcastle on PKs last
Yeah.
weekend. So Tavernier and the boys were doing the job. Krupi played, Unal, Adley, Brooks.
Groupie guy is interesting. I don't know. Every time you see him, he's scoring goals.
Yeah. And then, but a little bit on Arsenal, right? What can they do now, right, to make sure they win the title? Like they hold it. And what trophy should they prioritize? If, I mean, Champions League, they're at the top, they have a chance to win the EFL, and then Champions League is also there. Which of those three would you prioritize?
The league. Um, the league, they're in control. I mean, everything is on them. Um, the other cups, you have a championship game if you make it to the championship game. And in the championship game, anything goes because you're playing the best teams that are available or in form at that moment. So the league, you have a 6 point lead. That's 2 games, and you're
Okay.
in charge. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's what we have for you guys today. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Ciao. The time is done.